Hey, it's Mike Hambright with FlipNerd.com. Welcome back for another exciting expert interview where I interview awesome guests to inspire you and help you learn a little bit. One more quick reminder of our upcoming REI Power Summit, reipowersummit.com. We have a large virtual conference that's coming up where you'll have access to the presentations actually for a year. Over 50 great speakers so far. It's going to be a great event. So check out reipowersummit.com. For today's show, I'm excited to have Michael Blank with us here today. He's a serial entrepreneur. He can't sit still, kind of like me. But he's also an apartment investor is one of the things he does. He's really focused on cash flow, as all of us should be. But he not only invests in apartment buildings, he teaches others how to do it. And a big part of investing in apartment buildings, especially larger buildings, obviously, is raising capital. So for today's show, that's exactly what we're going to talk about with Michael Blank. How to get started investing in apartment buildings and raising capital for it. Before we get started, though, let's take a moment to recognize our sponsors. RealtyMogul.com is an online marketplace for real estate investing, connecting borrowers and capital from accredited and institutional investors. Get a rehab loan fast and close in as little as 10 days with rates starting as low as 9%. For more information, call 888-296-1697. B2R Finance makes loans tailored specifically for rental investors. They can help you unlock equity from existing properties so you can get cash out to grow your rental portfolio. That's huge and opens up lots of opportunities previously not available to rental investors. Need a loan? Call 855-819-4412 or visit b2rfinance.com today. AceBusinessFunding.com can help you get up to $150,000 in revolving credit lines to fund your business with rates as low as 0% for the first 12 to 18 months. Use the funds for startup costs, marketing, inventory, or almost anything your business needs. If you can't get funding, you don't pay a dime. Get funds for your business today at acebusinessfunding.com. We'd also like to thank Specialized IRA Services, National Real Estate Insurance Group, and VirtualStaffNow.com. Please note, the views and opinions expressed by the individuals in this program do not necessarily reflect those of FlipNerd.com or any of its partners, advertisers, or affiliates. Please consult professionals before making any investment or tax decisions, as real estate investing can be risky. Hey, Michael, welcome to the show.
Hey, Mike, thanks for having me.
Yeah, glad to have you on. And so I'm excited to talk about this because I know that you have done a number of houses too. So I think to give some context to investing, from the housing side, from apartments, and a lot of people tend to just be in one camp or the other, and they're kind of fearful of going one way or the other, or have no interest in going one or the other. So it'll be exciting to kind of compare and contrast a little bit between investing in houses and apartments.
Right.
But hey, before we get started, why don't you kind of tell us your background and how you found your way into where you are now?
Yeah, I mean, it took me a while in life to figure it out that I was actually an entrepreneur. A lot of guys are fortunate, when they're in their teens, early 20s, like, oh yeah, I got to have my startup, And I wasn't like that. I kind of followed the traditional go to school, get a good job thing. And that's what I did. I went to college and went to graduate school. I got a master's in computer science, so I'm highly educated, right? And
you were prepped to work for somebody else.
Well, I guess that's how I was programmed, And right. my dad was with IBM for 30 years, bless his heart, and that's what everybody did, right?
Right.
So, but I did at one point want to experience a startup, a software startup specifically. This was in the late 90s, and I did join a startup as a programmer. But we grew so rapidly that I ended up most of my time spent recruiting, interviewing, and managing teams, and it wasn't the right place, the right time, and the company was very successful when we went IPO in 2000 and put a bunch of money in my pocket, which was awesome. And then I stayed on probably for too long. All the fun people had left at this point. We had kind of a larger company at this point. And then in 2000, and my plan though was to have my own software company. So I specifically moved around inside the company. I went to marketing for 2 years. And the last year I was there, I was actually in sales. I actually had a quota. I had to cold call people. It was the hardest thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
But I learned a lot. Anyway, so then in 2004 or 5, I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I was 35 years old at the time. I was like, I am such an idiot. It doesn't really matter what, how much money you have in the bank or whatever. It matters how much passive income you have coming in.
Yeah.
So I left the company, took some time off, and then I did network with other entrepreneurs and venture capitalists around the software idea. I just didn't feel like, I just felt the passive income calling me. That's basically what it is. Yeah. And I decided then to implement a two-prong approach, which was to have a cash flow business, which was going to be pizza restaurants, and then real estate, right? So in the pizza restaurants, I bought a territory, and essentially my plan was to plunk down like my vast majority of what I had in the and finance 3-4 units, and that would then self-finance future growth. So
Right.
I hired a guy to run all the restaurants, and I would basically sit back and count the passive income. Right? So it didn't quite work out that way with it.
That's a hard business, man. I actually
That
have
was the
some
plan,
family members
okay?
that have owned pizza places. So yeah, I understand. Go ahead.
And on the real estate side, I decided to start flipping houses. So I aligned myself with a local mentor, and was immediately successful in the first six to 12 months. I did my first 2 deals and made as much money as I did in my software job. I was like, wow, this is really amazing.
Yeah.
Now, and I already felt that inside that really where I wanted to be is buy and hold property. And based on the financial goals that I wanted, it would have taken me too long to do it with houses. What I liked about the houses was that it generated chunks of income.
Right.
But it was very active. There was nothing passive about it. If you're not buying and selling and fixing, you're not making money.
Right.
So, but the market was so unique in 2000. Well, I started in 2005 and 6 and did like a handful, and then put that on hold because of the restaurant business. I was getting very busy. And at that point, I actually had under letter of intent in Texas an 82-unit apartment building, which was a smoking hot deal. I had probably looked at 100 before then. And I said, all right, I got to put this on hold, because if I do this deal, I'm going to be spending time in Texas. And we were like building 2 restaurants, buying one, and it was crazy. So I put the whole real estate thing on hold until about 2009, where there was so many foreclosures on the market. And the Washington, D.C. market was, the retail market was coming back so strongly that I was like, man, I need to jump on this.
Right. Right.
At this point, I had none
That was
of my
kind of fortuitous of a good 2 or 3 year period to miss out on, actually.
Well, my restaurants took a hit, so
Oh.
I actually sold 2 of them in the process at a massive loss. So it didn't. I don't think anyone came unscathed unless you had a 9-to-5 job, maybe. So no, I have some battle scars from that perspective.
Yeah.
But the real estate stuff I put on hold, and like I said, in 2009 I just saw this opportunity, but I had none of my own money. Was all deployed in these restaurants. That was I kind of bet it all, right? And so I had none of my own money, so I was like, I need to do something. And I decided to raise money from other people. And that's when I got the taste for other people's money, And I was like, this is unbelievable. And so we were buying about 2 houses a month. We did 30 houses in 2.5 years. And then that thing dried up a little bit, and I kind of rekindled my initial plan, which was commercial property. And in 2011, I got into a small 12-unit deal in Washington, D.C., and that was my first syndicated deal. It was the second time I've used other people's money, but it was the first time I had a private placement memorandum, subscription agreement, the LLC, the whole 9 yards.
Right.
And that freaking thing was a nightmare. I almost regretted getting into it, because the first 18 months, there was one tenant who just not only made my life miserable by not paying the rent, suing me for the same 12 housing violations in 3 different dockets. Calling all kinds of authorities. He was costing me thousands of dollars. I thought I was going to run out of money at one point.
Yeah.
And the dear Lord had mercy on me and eventually stopped that, and then eventually moved out. But it was quite the wake up call.
Yeah.
But now it's stable and it's performing well.
Yeah. It's funny. Thanks for sharing that background. So I used to live in the DC area, as I told you. And I remember reading an article. It was in whatever the kind of local coffee shop type rag is there, can't remember what it's called. But and literally the cover of it was how to live in an apartment, or, how to rent a property and not pay rent. And literally it was a laundry list of, because I know DC is in some states are very difficult, not as landlord friendly as other areas, I should say. And so I don't know if that was a big part of your problem. It sounds like it probably was.
Yes.
But literally it was talking about how you could just, file things and not pay rent. It effectively takes forever to evict somebody, right? So
true.
I'll never forget that
tenants.
article, but it was like, why would somebody put this out?
I think my tenant wrote that article.
Yeah, wow.
So, but anyway, it's one of those things where you get into the game, it doesn't go as planned, but you survive, you get stronger, and now you're in the game.
You learn a lot from it, yeah.
Yeah. And then so that's really, and then about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I decided that I wanted to. People were asking me how I did this and how I raised money, and that was I was invited to do a full day seminar at my RIA one day on this very topic, and it was very well received, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. But I had to sacrifice the entire Saturday for this thing. I said, what if one day I'll put all this stuff online that people can look at it online. So that's when I started writing about apartment building investing, and I put out a ton of content. I'm a weekly contributor on the Bigger Pockets, and I have a podcast and a YouTube channel and and weekly articles on my own website. So I have a ton of free resources. And
Awesome.
now, in the meantime, I also have courses that teach others how to, get into apartment building investing by
Sure.
raising money.
Sure, sure. So let's dive into that. So I think there's a lot of folks that have an interest in. I think there's a lot of single family house investors that it's kind of like Monopoly. They think it's like Monopoly. They see themselves, well, I'm going to graduate to up to apartments and then on to hotels or whatever it might be. But they never know how to kind of bridge that gap. And we've had lots of other folks on the show where we talked about multifamily type investing, and there's always people that kind of bought houses and then graduated up, if you will. There's always some people that bought one house, hated it, got into apartment investing, and they're like, I didn't need that experience. You don't have to have single family house experience to get into this. It's a totally different business. But what's your kind of take on the type of experience you need to have that would make you a good apartment investor?
Yeah, that's a really good point. You actually raised several points in what you just said. One is, even though despite my house flipping experience, I got woefully little credit for that when I entered the apartment building world. People kind of said, that's interesting. In fact, of my 30 or so investors I had, I think only two of them actually ended up investing with me. So it's almost like, why did I bother? People say, well, let's start small. I'm like, no. Don't start small. It doesn't really buy you much. Go right. If you think multifamily is the way to go, and go right at your goal. Don't make a little sidestep in thinking that you can graduate to that one. So that's the first point. The second point, there are a lot of single family house people that want to get into multifamily, and they do it for a variety of reasons. One is they're burnt out. That's probably the number one reason is they recognize that it's having 20, 30, whatever, 10 houses is just too much for them, and there's nothing really passive about it. And then number two is some others recognize that to meet their financial goals would require a huge amount of single family houses to get there. And they're like, I'm not getting there in my lifetime. I got to do something else.
Right.
And then there's the other camp who does not have the single family house experience. Maybe they have a rental or single rental, or they just have a real desire about real estate, and they want things in life that they don't have right now, which is, they want to quit their job, they don't like their job, or they're working too hard, they're traveling too much, they're not spending enough time with their family, or they're about to retire and they want supplemental income when they retire. These are the kind of people that go, how do I do that? And the best business, in my opinion, to address those is commercial real estate. It's better than pizza. It's, in my opinion, better than single family houses as well, though I don't want to knock them. I've done it, and there's plenty of people that make good passive income with that. But multifamily really is a fantastic vehicle, right? Because it has this passive component. It's the easiest business in the world to get financing for. Banks won't lend on any other business except for real estate. And it's something that is teachable and in my case scalable and repeatable, right?
Yeah.
Which the pizza business was not.
Right.
If I buy, let's say, 10 units, I can buy 20 units, and then I can buy 50 units, and I can start building this business over time, and I can stop or I can keep going.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I know you're going to talk about raising. We're going to talk about raising money here in a little bit too. And I think I know it's without having any experience with large apartments for sure. I know just in the raising money part, which I've had to go through myself. You kind of go through this process when you're an investor of. If it's in your intent to raise money, is you go from seems impossible to raise money to I can raise far more than I ever need. As a single family house investor, that's tough because if you find somebody that has money and they're like, okay, well, how would I could give you $1 million, and you're like, awesome. Well, hey, I need 80,000 right now though. Can you just put the rest in a bank for me and earn nothing on it, right? Yeah. So you can apply a lot more money. When you find people that have money, they want to apply it, right? They want to put it to work, not just set it aside for you in case you need it. So I'm guessing that's much easier on the apartment side as well.
Yeah, it is, because people investing in the house side, after 6 months, they return their money and they're like, dude, I don't want your money. I want it working for me. I said, well, I can't place it right now. And then, 3 or 4 months maybe go by before I can do that. And with commercial real estate, the downside of commercial real estate is that you're locking their money up for longer, right? So it's a different kind of investor.
Sure. Well, let's kind of dive into kind of how to get started. I mean, what's your general guidance for people that are hearing this and they're on the edge of their seat right now? They're like, "Boy, this is going to take me over the top." So let's take them over the top, Michael. Where do we go from here?
Well, I always start with the big why first. And anything in life, when we try to change our life, is why do you want to change your life? What is it about your life that's so bad? Okay, and then how do you envision yourself, down the road? So you have to be clear about those, because anytime you change your life in any meaningful way, whether it's losing weight or starting in apartment buildings, that why has to be pretty strong, because what you're about to do is, if you want to retire in 3 to 5 years, you're going to do a sustained activity for a long period of time.
Yeah.
I always say, if I can teach you how to generate leads from Facebook, and you do these 10 steps, and in 3 days you have 10,000 leads, that's like instant gratification. With apartment building investing, or real estate investing in general, actually,
Yeah.
there is no such thing as instant gratification. So
Right.
I'm trying to set expectations properly. I'm happy to take people's money when they buy my course, but I said, okay, just to be clear here, this is something you're going to do for many months. Okay, so the first thing is the why. Why do you want to do it? And when that why is strong enough, and that person is really motivated, and they really know what they don't want, and they know what they do want, and then we can talk about the how.
Sure.
And the biggest objection, there's really two hard things with commercial real estate investing. One is finding the deals, and number two is finding the money.
Right.
The biggest objection is people say, "Look, I don't have the money to buy $1 million building, or I don't have enough money."
Right.
And so, to address that objection, I've really spent a lot of time teaching people how to raise money to overcome that objection.
Okay. Okay. So you think that's where people, after they kind of understand why they're doing it, give some context to it, kind of set the expectation that just like there's, especially on the residential side, I think, because of all the flipping shows on TV and stuff like that, people have been conditioned to think that it's easy, but it's a hard business, as you know.
Very hard business.
In fact, there's no business that's easy, right?
No.
Everything is tough, especially as a small business. It's not like you have a lot of resources. You can't hire redundancy and backups to the people that leave or quit or get fired or suck. Right. And so, you end up as the owner kind of getting inserted in a lot of areas, and it's still a lot of work, but just kind of setting that expectation of what you're getting yourself into. Why do you want to do it? And then you kind of advise, hey, let's work on raising money first, so you can't use that as an excuse as to why you can't do this. Does that sound right?
That's about right. And that's usually the biggest reason that people kind of say, oh, I know I want multifamily. I get it. But I just don't have the resources for it. And then and that's it, that the conversation ends.
Right.
And that's where mine begins.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you said, you kind of made some reference before. I know you live in the DC area, and you had looked at an apartment building in Texas. I heard you kind of say that early on. So are you of the belief that the properties need to be in any sort of kind of geographic proximity to you, or do you invest? Do you kind of teach people to, hey, you can invest anywhere?
I teach people two things. One is ideal to invest in an area that you already know, because it's just easier. But the reality of the market is that it's tough to find deals, and you have to kind of go where the deals are.
Right.
So I specifically teach people how to do that remotely. So how do you get deals remotely? How do you build your team remotely? How do you do this whole thing remotely? Because without it, it would be incomplete. Your experience would be complete, and you'd be very frustrated if you're living in, New York City and you can't find deals.
Right, absolutely. And so with that, I assume you kind of go hand in hand that you probably do not manage your own properties, I assume.
Oh no, right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, good.
I know there's a lot of people that do it, and I would say, okay, do it in the beginning, but only so you know the business enough so that you can delegate it and manage the manager. But that's the only reason. There's plenty of people that says, oh, I'm going to do it because I want to make more money. That's fine. I'd rather use my time to find more deals and make, in the long run, more money than if I manage my own building.
Right. Yeah, I don't manage my rentals. I'd rather do anything in the world other than manage my rentals. Right. So, awesome. Okay, so where do we go from there? You kind of raise money. You get comfortable with doing this remotely, being able to kind of not limit yourself to your own backyard necessarily. And so where do we go from there?
Well, there's three activities that people have to take when they get into this stuff, and they do these activities every single week. One is you're analyzing deals and making offers, and that's kind of one related activity.
Right.
And two is that you are meeting with potential investors, and three is you're speaking or meeting with a potential team member. Right? You're building your team, so that means you're speaking with property managers, lenders, for example, things of that nature. So those are the three activities that you're doing every single week. Sure.
And in terms of finding deals, I know you probably could talk on this for days, but what are some of the high level areas where people typically find multifamily deals? Because it's not like they're just listed on the MLS and when you get into the commercial world, there's LoopNet and a whole bunch of other obscure places that you might find stuff. But what are maybe just share a couple minutes and kind of say some high level places that you teach people to find deals?
Yeah, the primary source of deals is brokers. Okay, now the way you find the brokers is with the sites that you just mentioned, for example, LoopNet. LoopNet is not great for finding actual deals because, well, they kind of go there to die a little bit,
Yeah.
If they're on LoopNet, then it means that the immediate buyers list of these brokers have not purchased a deal yet. But that's okay. You use it to find brokers. Another good source is ccim.com, for example. So what you want to do is you want to build up a list of brokers and you want to contact them. You want to contact them. Hey, what deals do you have? Here's what I'm looking for. Build rapport. Get them to send you deals.
Yep.
And then you want to stay in touch with them. And then when they do send you a deal, and this is really important, is that you want to actually respond to them in 48 hours. And based on my brokers, I asked them, hey, when you fire out a deal, what percentage of your buyers list responds to you? And they're like 25%. A quarter of my buyers actually respond. So if you're one of those 25%, you're already bubbling to the top in this broker's mind.
Right.
Because the issue as a newbie is that you're not being taken seriously. Now you respond to a broker, you're going to start being taken seriously.
Right.
And what I teach is kind of the 10-minute offer. So when a deal comes in, I made this mistake early on. I spent 4 hours analyzing a deal when it came in. It was asinine. It was what a waste of time. And now I have this 10-minute offer thing, and I actually have a free ebook on my website that describes this process. It's very simple but powerful because you get back to the broker with feedback about the deal and what price would work for you and if there's any flexibility, and you're effectively starting a negotiating process.
Yeah.
And if you get a response saying, yeah, there might be some flexibility, at that point you can go to level 2 of the analysis and spend maybe an hour or two sharpening your pencil a little bit.
Sure. Yeah, back to the kind of responding quickly. I mean, you see that on the single family side, really in everything. I think people, in terms of building, one of the things that I talk a lot about is building relationships with people. And a lot of people go to RIA clubs and things like that. They shake hands, they put a business card in their pocket, and then they come home with something like this, right? A bunch of business cards. And you put a rubber band around it and throw it in a drawer. And, it's funny that we've kind of been conditioned that, like Facebook, I'm just going to click a button and somebody is now my friend, but they don't even really know you. So I think that whole, I think what you just said is very powerful, is just, even if you're new and you're like, I'm almost afraid to create a lot of banter with this person because I don't have the money yet, or I'm afraid to get a deal. You kind of, sometimes in real estate investing, new people are like the proverbial dog that's chasing the bus, like they don't know what to do even if they catch it, right? So you start to subconsciously convince yourself, sabotage yourself really from doing stuff. But basically keeping those relationships alive, because stuff like this happens probably. You respond to somebody and acknowledge, hey, I've got this, we're going to look at it. And they may write back, oh, by the way, I've actually got another deal you might be interested in. And there's things that happen that unless you start that banter, maybe not, they may not fall in your lap.
So brokers really, this is what you're saying is so true about building a relationship, because brokers are, number one, your source of deals, but also your gateway into your other team members. They will recommend you to the property managers and the lender specifically. So this is why it's so important to build relationships. And I'll track them like in a spreadsheet or something. And if I haven't heard from them in like 2 weeks, I might call them up and say, hey, how's it going? What do you got? Here's what's going on, just so you're staying in touch with them.
Right. Do you want to talk for a few minutes, Michael, about the raising money part? Because I think a lot of people, especially if they don't have money or they've never had to raise money, when you talk about millions of dollars, it sounds kind of overwhelming and scary. Maybe kind of talk about how folks can get more comfortable with that process.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the first thing is kind of understanding, what the process might look like, because most people go, well, I don't have money. I don't really know anybody with money. What do I do? And there's a few things. Number one is, one of the catch-22s with raising money is that if you don't have a deal under contract to talk about, how am I going to go raise the money? And then on the other hand, if I have a deal under contract, how in the world am I going to raise the money?
Right.
You can't. So people kind of go, I can't solve this problem, I'm stuck. And the way I solve that problem is what I call a sample deal package. Sample deal package is a real deal, wherever you find it, and it's basically an investor package that has photos in it, has financials, has how you can structure the deal, and the only thing that's not real about it is the fact that you don't have it under contract. Okay, and then you basically take that as a tool to start reaching out to potential investors. So that's kind of the key tool to do that. And then the first thing we do is we create a mind map of everyone different social groups, my neighbors, my friends, my family, my church, my sports club, Boy Scouts, whatever. You write down the names of everybody and then you start reaching out to them. And what you want to do is you want to get a series of yeses from them. All you really want is a 5-minute conversation. Hey, I'm really excited about this. I'm looking at apartment building deals, and I just want to run this by you and get your feedback.
Sure.
Your friend's going to say, sure. Okay. It's a 5-minute conversation. Then you tell them a little bit more. And then in that conversation, you say, hey, here's what I'm doing. I'm raising money. Is there anyone you might think is interested in a 5-minute conversation? And then they will go, well, I might be interested.
Right.
Or they might say, well, I'm probably not the right guy, but my brother is, or my boss is. Okay. And then you follow up to the referral. And again, you want to get a series of yeses. And you say, hey, I just want a 5-minute conversation, tell you what I'm doing, and see if you're interested in something like that.
Yep.
And you just follow where the breadcrumbs lead you.
Sure. And the people know that it's a hypothetical deal, or they don't. They don't. Okay.
Yeah. And you don't actually spend a lot of time talking about it when you actually meet. You have a
Right.
1-hour meeting with somebody. You spend most of your time building rapport, talking about your background, talk about the team that you've built, what you want to do.
Sure.
You talk about how you would structure the deal, maybe the returns, some of the risk factors. And then in the very end, you might either show them the sample deal package or leave it to them as a leave behind. The idea is that you're building a relationship with somebody, you're answering some of the questions, addressing some of the objections, and eventually you will get a verbal commitment.
Yeah.
So one guy goes, yeah, I'll do $50,000. Just keep me posted. And so you keep them posted, just like your brokers. You call them every 2-3 weeks. And then when you actually get a deal, you call all the people up and say, remember you were in for 50,000 or whatever? Are you still good? And he goes, yeah, I'm good. What do I have to do? And then you take it from there. But you've already essentially raised the money by the time you have a deal, because why would I put a $1 million property under contract if I don't have my money raised? It's a little. There's people who do it and they pull it off, but man, that's stressful.
Yeah. So, talk about, I know in terms of the stress of this whole thing, I know that a big part of it is, especially on your first deal, it's like same way in single family or anything, your confidence goes through the roof after you've done a deal or after you've done a few deals, right? And then it's like, I could do this in my sleep. I don't know what I was ever worried about, right? The dynamic changes completely, right? So I know that you said you found a mentor locally. I mentor folks. I have mentors. I'm sure you have mentors. I think kind of talk about the role of having people that you can rely on to kind of give you guidance, and really the importance of that.
Yeah, I mean, manure is a lonely sport. It's kind of people around our friends don't really understand what we're doing. We under pain, and why don't we just get a job? So it's kind of lonely, and I think that comes. There's pieces of it. One is, of course, when you or you do, of course, you acquire knowledge, and that's one of three things we need to be successful is knowledge. And there's two other pieces. One is accountability, action, and you got to take action, and need accountability. At least a lot of you need community. You need so as you think about doing anything or anything, you have to address all three. Now you can acquire knowledge, Googling it, buying a book, or doing a seminar. Okay. Then number two, on the taking action. If you're an action taker, you not need someone to kick you in the shins every once in a while. Hey, did you do? My experience is most people are not natural action takers. They need to be reminded and asked what they did last week, and if they did it, and then third, and this is the ongoing support. You need number one, because when things take setbacks, but then you also have specific situational questions that a course or boot camp is not going to do. There's only one situation like this in the world, and you need some kind of help on this particular situation. So I've seen that to be active in anything that you want to do, apartment building, one way or another.
Yep. Michael, definitely appreciate all the information today. I know you are kind of a ferocious content creator like we are here, have a lot of great blogs and articles on your site. But if folks want to learn more about what you're doing and some of the stuff we talked about today, where do they go?
Yeah, they go to themichaelblank.com. So it's themichaelblank, BLANK.com. And if you're interested in multifamily, it's a great place to start, because I have a lot of articles. I have 2 free ebooks, podcast channel, a podcast, and a YouTube channel. So it'll keep you busy for a while. I think it's a good place to start for listeners.
Sure. Any kind of final words of wisdom to those that have had some level of fear? They're interested in this, but they've got some level of fear that they need to get behind them.
Yeah, I just go back to my initial why. If your current life is not so bad, why change it? I mean, honestly, a lot of people, everybody wants $1 million and want to quit their job, but still, a fraction of them are actually taking action. So really become clear about your why. And if you are clear about the why, you just need to commit to whatever course of action you just have to decide that that's what you want to do.
Yep. Awesome. Michael, thanks for your time today. I forgot to mention a while back, you were talking about different sources for apartments, and this isn't going to help people right out of the gate, but we actually are about to add a couple different property types to flipnerd.com for those that are interested in finding multifamily and apartment deals, and actually rental ready kind of turnkey properties as well. So in the next couple of weeks, you'll start to see those pop up on FlipNerd. So Michael, thanks again for being with us today. Definitely appreciate your time, and great to see you.
My pleasure. It was a real honor. Thanks, Mike.
Awesome. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye. Are you a member of FlipNerd.com, the most robust real estate investing platform in existence, where you can find off-market wholesale deals and great vendors literally in your market? You can get access to advice from experts and learn about local clubs and events right in your backyard. If not, please visit FlipNerd.com and register for a free account. You can register in less than a minute. It's pretty much the coolest site that's ever existed in the real estate investing industry, so get on over to FlipNerd.com.